The tall silver doors of the Grand Council opened with a soft hum. Inside, alien leaders in long glowing robes sat in silence. Their faces were calm, but their eyes sharp. In the center stood King Viorin, ruler of planet Zeroth. He looked proud, strong, and determined. Standing across from him was his only daughter, Princess Zalara. Her blue skin shimmered under the royal lights, and her long purple hair was tied behind her shoulders. But her eyes, full of fire and rage, said she wasn't here to obey. "I will not do this," she said loudly, her voice echoing in the silent chamber. "I'll marry a robot, a cyborg, even a Martian, but never a human." Gasps filled the room. A few council members looked at each other, whispering. No one had ever spoken like this in the royal court before, especially not a princess. "King." Voron's face remained calm, but his voice grew heavy. "Zalara," he said, "this marriage is not just for you, it is for peace. For our future." But Zalara shook her head. "You speak of peace, father, but humans bring war. You forget what they did." "I don't." The king stepped forward slowly. "That was years ago. One mistake by a small group of soldiers. Earth has changed. They now offer us friendship, and we must offer it back." Zalara looked away. Her jaw tightened. "You didn't see my mother's face the day they landed. You didn't feel her hand go cold." A silence fell again. Many in the room remembered that day, the first human visit to Zeroth. What started as peace ended in fire. No one ever found the full truth. Some said the humans were attacked first. Others said they panicked and fired. But what mattered to Zalara was simple. Her mother had died because of humans. A loud beep interrupted the tension. The doors opened once more. A tall figure walked in, surrounded by guards. He wore a black Earth uniform with silver lines. His hair was short and dark, his skin pale. His eyes moved slowly across the room, cold, calm, watching. "This is Eli," said King Viorin, "Earth's chosen ambassador. And your future husband." Zalara stared at him. She expected someone arrogant or cruel. But Eli stood straight, silent. His face showed nothing, no joy, no pride, no fear. Just silence. He walked forward and bowed. "Princess Zalara," he said softly, "it is an honor." Zalara didn't speak. She looked him up and down, then turned away. Later that night, in her private chambers, Zalara sat near her window, looking at the stars. Her fists were clenched. Her breath was sharp. Why had her father agreed to this? What did Earth offer that was worth selling her future? She heard a soft noise behind her. She turned. Eli stood at the doorway. "You shouldn't be here," she said coldly. "I asked the guards to give me 1 minute," he replied. "Just one." Zalara stood. "Say what you came to say." Eli took a slow breath. "I know you don't trust me. You have every reason not to, but I'm not like the others." Zalara laughed bitterly. "Do all humans say that?" "No," Eli replied. "But I know what happened to your mother." Zalara froze. Her eyes narrowed. "How?" "There are files," Eli said, "hidden. Even your father never saw them. Why are you telling me this?" She asked. "Because," he said slowly, "I need your help, and you need the truth." Before she could ask more, Eli turned and walked away. Zalara stood still for a long moment. Her heart beat faster. Who was this man? How did he know her secret? And what did he mean by needing her help? Outside the palace, far above the skies of Zeroth, an Earthship hovered in silent orbit. Inside, someone watched the planet carefully, fingers typing fast on a glowing screen. A message blinked on the screen. Phase 1 complete. Wedding in 6 days. Mission still on track. Back on the planet, Zalara returned to her chair. She looked at the stars once more. Something felt wrong. Something was coming. And for the first time, she wasn't sure who the real enemy was. *. The skies above Zaroth were a deep violet, stars floating like cold fireflies in the endless dark. But inside Princess Solara's heart, there was no peace. The night after Ila's strange words, sleep would not come. She sat alone, eyes fixed on the same stars that had once given her comfort. Now they felt distant, like silent watchers of a forgotten truth. She kept hearing his voice in her mind. "I know what happened to your mother." No one talked about that day anymore. Her father had forbidden it. The records were sealed. But the fire never left her memory. She was only a child, barely 6. But she remembered everything. The Earthship landing for the first Alliance visit, the smiles, the sudden screams, the sound of weapons, and her mother, Queen Aluna, shielding her with her own body. Since that day, Zalara had sworn to never trust a human. And now one of them claimed to know something she didn't? She couldn't ignore it. The next morning before sunrise, she slipped out of the palace through the old servant tunnels. Her robes were hidden under a plain black cloak. The guards didn't see her. No one did. She walked through the glowing city of Luraxis, capital of Zaroth. Crystal towers rose like frozen lightning around her. Hovercars buzzed quietly in the sky. Her breath fogged in the morning chill. She didn't stop until she reached the Zaroth historical vaults, a place forbidden even to royalty without counsel. Permission. But Zalara had something stronger than permission. Purpose. A young alien boy guarded the entrance. When he saw her, he blinked in surprise. "Princess?" "I was never here," she said, raising her hand. Her fingers glowed with a mind control pulse. The boy nodded blankly and stepped aside. Inside, rows of glowing memory crystals floated. Above long silver shelves, each one held a moment from Zaroth's past. Zalara moved fast, her eyes scanning for one name only. Queen Aluna. She found the memory crystal marked Royal Visit, Earth Arrival, Year 217. The year her mother died. She touched the crystal. A blue light wrapped around her. Images flashed. Before her eyes, the memory opened. Queen Aluna stood smiling on the palace steps. Soldiers lined both sides. A massive Earthship landed, and out came humans in silver suits. Led by a man with dark glasses and a red Earth badge. Everything seemed calm, until one soldier reached for something. A blaster? Suddenly, screams, shots fired. Aluna shouted, "Protect the child!" A second later, her body was falling, blood running over the white stones. The image froze. Zalara pulled away, her heart pounding, but something was wrong. The soldier who fired, he wasn't holding a weapon. He was reaching for a scanner, a gift. His death came first. She looked again. A Zaroth guard had fired first. Her world shook. Had they started it? Had her people caused the chaos? A voice came from behind her. "I told you," Eli said quietly. "You never had the full truth." Zalara spun around, energy crackling at her fingertips. "How did you find me?" "I followed," Eli said. "I figured you'd come here after last night, and I was right." She stared at him, breath heavy. "Why did you show me this?" "Because," he said, stepping closer, "I need you to. See, your people are not perfect either, just like mine. We were both lied to." Her voice was sharp. "Then why come now? What's your real mission?" Eli didn't speak for a moment. Then he reached into his coat and pulled out a small cube. It glowed faintly red. "This," he said, "is a signal blocker. Earth military doesn't know I'm talking to you. But they are watching. This marriage, it's not about love. It's not even about peace. What is it then?" Zalara asked. "A cover," he said, "for invasion. Earth wants your technology, your energy crystals, your skies. This wedding is the distraction." Zalara's breath caught in her throat. "And you're helping them?" she asked. "No," Eli said. Firmly, "I was sent as a spy. But I changed my mind the moment I read what happened to your mother. The same humans who killed her? They're still in power. They planned this mission. Why tell me all this now? Because, he said, you're the only one strong enough to stop this. Your people won't listen to me. But they'll follow you. You're more than a princess, your hope. For a moment, Zalara felt the weight of 1,000 stars pressing down on her. She hated him. She hated humans. But if what he said was true, her anger had blinded her too. Prove it, she said. Prove you're telling the truth. Eli nodded. Meet me tonight. Near the outer ring. I'll show you a message sent from Earth Command. You'll hear it yourself. And then, he disappeared into the shadows of the vault. Zalara stood alone once again. But now her heart was not full of hate. It was full of questions that she had seen the past. But what she feared most was the future. The winds outside the palace howled through the crystal towers of Zeroth, carrying with them the distant hum of engines and voices. But within the royal walls, Princess Zalara moved like a shadow. The things she had seen in the vault haunted her mother's death, the truth behind the first contact, and Eli, the human stranger who seemed to know too much. She didn't trust him, but she couldn't ignore him either. That night, dressed in black robes, she slipped past her guards. Again, her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from something worse, doubt. She hated humans. She had always hated them. But now her hate was cracking like old glass. Eli had told her to meet at the outer ring, just beyond the old energy field. It was a restricted zone where no signal could be tracked, the perfect place for secrets. When she arrived, he was already there, standing alone beneath a broken sky bridge. His back was to her, looking up at the stars. I didn't think you'd come, he said without turning. I came for the truth, she replied. Not for you. He turned slowly. His face was serious, tired. That's fair, he said. But the truth is all I have. He reached into his coat and pulled out a device. It looked like a small silver disc. When he placed it on the ground, it opened with a quiet hum. A red hologram appeared, showing the human commander sitting at a dark table. Zalara narrowed her eyes. Who is he? General Merrick, Eli said. He's in charge of Earth's Special Force Unit. He gave me my orders. The hologram began to play. The voice of the general was cold, sharp like ice. Your mission is simple, Agent Eli. Charm the girl. Secure her trust. The wedding must go forward. Once the treaty is signed, we deploy Phase 2. Use her if you have to. But make sure her people surrender their planetary codes by day 7. Zalara's face went pale. She didn't blink. Her fists clenched. They want to use me, she whispered. They want to use my wedding as a weapon. Eli nodded. I didn't agree with this. That's why I broke contact. She looked at him for a long time. Then what do you want? I want to stop them, he said. But I can't do it alone. Zalara turned away, her mind racing. Her people hated humans. If she told them the truth, would they believe her? Or would they think she had been brainwashed by Eli? She didn't know, but she knew one thing. This couldn't go on. Tomorrow, she said, meet me near the council chamber. I'll try to get you access to the communication tower. If we can broadcast this message planet-wide, they won't be able to deny it, Eli finished. She nodded. Then she vanished into the shadows once more, but she didn't know that someone had been watching. Far above them, in a black hover drone hidden behind clouds, a pair of red eyes blinked. A voice crackled through a communicator. The princess has made contact with the traitor. Prepare protocol override. The next day, the palace felt colder. Zalara walked through the halls like nothing was wrong. She smiled at the ministers. She nodded at the guards. But inside, she was already planning. She passed her father in the great hall. King Viorn looked tired. His eyes had lost their shine. He was trying to build a future, but he didn't know he was handing it to the enemy. Are you ready for the ceremony? He asked gently, Zalara hesitated. "I'm thinking about it," she replied. That night, she slipped out again, this time with a fake security badge and a cloak to cover Eli's form. Together, they made their way to the upper tower where the communication controls were held. Something felt off. The hallways were empty. Too empty. When they reached the control room, the doors were already open. Inside, a figure was waiting. Tall, slender, familiar. It was Joran, her childhood friend and her father's closest advisor. Turned slowly to face her. "I was wondering how long it would take." Zalara froze. "What are you doing here?" Joran smiled sadly. "Protecting the kingdom." "From you." Guards poured in from both sides. Eli stepped in front of her. "Run." "No," she said. "Not this time." But before they could speak again, Joran stepped forward. "You should have stayed quiet, Zalara. You were supposed to smile, wave, marry the human, and do your duty. But now," Eli spoke, "you're working with Earth." Joran didn't deny it. Earth doesn't want war, just control. A peaceful handover, that's all. Your father already agreed long ago. Zalara's eyes widened. "What?" "Your mother found out," Joran said. "She tried to stop him. That's why she died." Silence. It was like the stars had fallen from the sky. Zalara's breath caught in her chest. Her father had agreed to surrender. Her mother had died for trying to stop it. Eli grabbed her hand. "We have to go." She didn't move then. Suddenly, boom, a flash grenade hit the wall. Smoke exploded. Alarms blared. Someone had fired from outside. In the chaos, Zalara and Eli escaped through the lower tunnels, heart pounding, breath sharp. They didn't stop running until they reached the abandoned ruins at the edge of the city. There, surrounded by broken stone and quiet stars, Zalara finally sat down. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just whispered, "They lied to me. All of them." Eli sat beside her, quiet. After a moment, she looked at him and said, "Then we lie back." He raised an eyebrow. She continued, "We play their game. I'll wear the dress. I'll stand at the altar. But on the wedding day, we strike." Eli nodded. And above them, thunder rolled over the silent skies of Zareth, as if the stars themselves were listening. The next morning, the skies over Zeroth glowed a strange amber, as if the sun itself was unsure of what it wanted to be. Clouds moved slower. The air felt thicker. Something had shifted. Princess Zalara stood before the mirror in her royal chambers. A pale silver dress lay across her bed, the final design for the royal wedding, soft silk, elegant lines. A symbol of peace, a symbol of lies. Her hands touched the fabric, but she didn't feel it. Her mind was somewhere else, back in the tunnel, hearing Joran's words echo in her skull. "Your father already agreed. Your mother died trying to stop him." How could the man who raised her, the king who taught her honor, agree to betray his people? How deep did the lies go? She turned away from the dress and walked toward the glass balcony. The city below sparkled in its usual perfection. But to her, it looked like a beautiful trap, a cage made of crystal. Behind her, the door slid open. Eli stepped in, careful, quiet. "They're doubling the guards near the tower," he said. "And there's movement in the outer landing zones. Earth ships are getting closer." She nodded, still staring out. "Do you think he'll tell me the truth if I ask him?" "Your father?" Eli asked. "Yes." Eli paused. "Maybe, but sometimes the truth hurts more than the lie." She turned slowly, her eyes sharp. "I can take the pain. I just need the facts." That afternoon, Zalara went to her father's private chamber. The guards let her in without question. She was the princess after all. She found King Theorn alone, seated by the fire. His face looked older than usual, worn like stone left in the wind too long. "Father," she said. He smiled softly. "My daughter, come sit." She sat across from him, her heart steady, but her voice shaking. "Do you remember the day Mother died?" The king's smile faded. "Yes," he said, "every night." "Was it the humans who killed her, or someone else?" The room fell quiet. King Vioan looked at the fire for a long time, then finally spoke. "She discovered something," he sighed. "A plan. A secret agreement. Earth wanted access to our crystals. In return, they offered protection from rival systems. I thought it was smart. She thought it was betrayal." "You agreed to it?" Zalara asked, her voice low. He nodded slowly. "I did. I thought I could control it. I thought they would keep their word." Zalara felt her throat tighten, and when Mother tried to stop it, "I told her not to interfere," he whispered. "But she went to the council. She exposed the plan. She tried to cancel the Earth Treaty." He looked up at her now, tears behind his tired eyes. "She died the next day. Shot in a misunderstanding. I don't believe in coincidences anymore." Zalara stood. "So you knew all this time." "I was trying to protect you," he said. "No," she snapped. "You were protecting your crown." She turned and walked out without another word. That night, Zalara met Eli in the same ruins at the edge of the city. "He told me everything," she said. "The marriage, the deal, my mother's death." He knew. Eli didn't look surprised. "Then we don't wait anymore. We take action," she nodded. "The wedding will happen in 2 days. Let them prepare. Let them smile. But on that day, we'll have our own plan." "What do you have in mind?" he asked. "We'll broadcast the truth, that recording of the Earth General. We play it during the wedding, in front of the council, the people, everyone. And then," he asked, "then we fight." But something still bothered her. A shadow in her thoughts. "Eli," she said slowly, "there's something else." "What is it?" "Joran, my father's advisor. He knew everything. He was part of it, but someone had to help him from the inside." "You think there's a second traitor?" Eli asked. She nodded. "Someone close, very close." The night before the wedding, the palace buzzed with excitement. Musicians rehearsed. Servants decorated the halls. Drones flew overhead to check security. Everything looked perfect, but beneath it all, something dark was moving. Inside the royal war room, hidden behind 3 sealed doors, Eli stood beside Zalara, placing the communication chip inside. The central console. When activated, it would project the Earth General's message to every screen in the kingdom. "This will only work once," Eli said. "Once we play it, Earth will know they've been exposed. They'll attack fast." "I know," Zalara said. "And we'll be ready." But as they turned to leave, the lights flickered. A cold voice echoed through the chamber. "You really thought I wouldn't find out?" Zalara froze. From the shadows stepped out Captain Zayn, commander of her father's royal guard, the man who had trained her since she was a child. "No," she whispered. "Not you," Zayn smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You always were too curious for your own good. You're working with Earth?" Eli asked. Zahn nodded. "Not for them, for the future. This planet has been asleep for too long. Earth will wake us up, whether we like it or not." He raised a blaster, but before he could fire, boom! An explosion rocked the palace. Smoke filled the room. Eli tackled Zalara to the ground as debris rained down from the ceiling. In the chaos, they escaped again, through hidden tunnels known only to the royal bloodline. Outside, the stars were glowing red. Zalara looked at the sky. "They've started early." Eli nodded. "They're moving before the wedding." Zalara's voice grew cold. "Then we strike tonight. Asterisk, the skies." Over Zeroth burned red. Not from war, not yet, but from the storm forming in the atmosphere. The lightning crackled in strange colors, green, blue, and silver. It was the kind of sky the old prophets had written about in the sacred scrolls. The kind that only appeared when something terrible was coming. Princess Solara stood at the edge of the balcony in the old ruins, her royal crown gone, her silver dress now replaced with armor beneath her cloak. She was no longer just a princess, she was a warrior. And for the first time in her life, she was choosing her own battle. Beside her, Eli checked the small device strapped to his wrist, a portable signal interceptor. His hands were quick, but his eyes kept drifting to her. She hadn't spoken in over 10 minutes. "You okay?" he asked. "I'm thinking," she said, her voice low. "Thinking or doubting?" He asked gently. She looked at him. Both. He didn't blame her. The plan they were about to launch was risky. It could save the planet, or doom it. They had only hours left. The wedding was still officially on, scheduled for sunset. Guests from all across the galaxy were already arriving. Some were politicians, some were spies, and some, unknown even to the king, were Earth military agents in disguise. But no one knew what Solara and Eli were planning. No one, except for the small team they had built in secret. They were rebels, misfits, outcasts, a royal engineer with missing fingers, a retired alien pilot who flew like he was drunk but never crashed, a data slicer girl barely 15, and a giant ex-prisoner named Bork who could crush metal with his hands but cried at sad songs. This unlikely crew sat around a hologram map inside the ruins. Solara took the lead. The Earth soldiers will be guarding the tower by now. But their command relay still runs through the diplomatic chamber. If we jam the frequency and play the recording during the wedding ceremony, everyone will hear the truth. Earth's plan to invade. The engineer raised a hand. What about the palace? Guards? They'll shoot us on sight. Eli answered. They won't if they think we're with them. That's why we wear royal sigils. Blend in until the signal plays. Bork cracked his knuckles. And after it plays? Solara looked around the room. Then we fight. There was no cheer. No applause. Just silent nods. These weren't heroes from old stories. They were people with nothing to lose. That made them dangerous. That made them perfect. Hours later, the palace glowed under artificial lights. Alien music floated through the halls. Guests in glittering robes and shimmering masks moved like stars. In motion. Everything looked beautiful. But beneath that beauty, the palace was a bomb waiting to explode. Solara arrived through the back entrance. Her wedding dress glittered with crystals, her hair braided in the royal way. But under the dress, she wore a hidden communicator and a small plasma blade strapped to her thigh. Eli walked beside her in formal Earth attire, dark navy, silver badges, clean gloves. From a distance, they looked like the perfect couple, but their eyes told a different story. As they walked through the grand hallway, they nodded politely at guests, hiding their tension. Solara's heart pounded in her chest. Every step felt heavier than the last. They reached the center hall where the wedding was to take place. The ceiling stretched high above like a glass dome showing the burning sky. A path of golden light led to the ceremonial platform where King Theon stood, expression unreadable. Eli leaned closer to Solara and whispered, "The broadcast will trigger when I say the code. Are you ready?" She nodded once. A slow drumbeat began, the music of union, the signal to begin. They walked forward, side by side. But just before they reached the center, the lights flickered. Then again. Then they went out completely. Gasps echoed in the hall. Guests murmured. Security teams moved quickly. A second later, a giant screen behind the platform lit up in red. The message began to play. The Earth General's voice filled the entire palace. "Your mission is simple, Agent Eli. Charm the girl. Secure her trust. The wedding must go forward. Once the treaty is signed, we deploy Phase 2. Silence fell. All eyes turned to King Vioran. His face turned pale. Guards raised weapons. Earth soldiers pulled out hidden blasters. Eli stepped in front of Zalara, shielding her. Then, everything exploded. Screams, shots, glass shattering. Palace erupted into chaos. The rebels sprang into action. Bork tackled 2 soldiers in one leap. The engineer triggered a blackout to disable the drones. The Slicer girl hijacked the Earthship signal and broadcast the message across the galaxy. Outside, Earth ships began to fire on Zarath's defense towers, but inside the palace, Zalara moved like a force of nature. Her blade glowed with white heat. She disarmed guards, defended allies, and fought like the daughter of a queen who died for the truth. Eli, fighting beside her, took a hit in the shoulder but kept going. He didn't fight like a soldier anymore. He fought like someone protecting something he believed in, someone protecting her. They fought side by side until the last. Earth soldier in the hall dropped his weapon. Smoke filled the air. Sparks danced across the floor. King Vioran, injured but alive, stumbled forward. His crown was gone. His hands shook. He looked at Zalara. You stopped it." She looked at him, eyes filled with anger and sorrow. "No," she said. "We stopped it, but your silence almost destroyed everything." He lowered his head. For the first time, the Great King looked small. Later that night, as emergency teams helped the wounded and the remaining Earth fleet retreated into orbit, Zalara stood on the balcony again, the same one where it all began. Eli joined her, holding a bandage to his shoulder. "You kept your promise," he said. "You helped me keep it." She replied. They stood in silence. Then Eli asked, "So, what now? Still planning to marry a robot?" She smiled faintly. "Maybe, unless you can beat a robot in a duel." "I might lose," he said. She looked at him, softer now. "But you didn't lose today." He didn't answer. He just stood beside her, under the broken sky of a planet learning to heal. The fires had faded, but smoke still curled above the towers of Zarath. The city had survived the surprise Earth strike, barely. Half the communication systems were still down. Royal guards patrolled the sky bridges. Med ships flew between buildings like silver wasps, collecting the wounded. The people were shaken, but alive. And yet, deep in the heart of the royal palace, something colder than smoke still lingered. Betrayal. Princess Azalor sat alone in the council chamber. Her armor was cracked. A deep scratch ran across her cheek, but she didn't feel the pain. She only felt the silence. The kind of silence that creeps into your bones when your world changes faster than your heart can follow. Her fingers traced the edge of the table, where her mother once sat. Queen Aluna's seat had remained untouched for years. But today, it felt like her voice still whispered in the air. Never kneel to lies, even if they wear a crown. A door hissed open behind her. Eli stepped in, moving slower than usual. His shoulder was heavily bandaged, and every step looked painful. Still, he stood tall. Still he came. "They're rebuilding the western towers," he said quietly. "The citizens are scared, but they're listening." Zalara nodded but didn't look at him. He stepped closer. "The recording. It changed everything," he continued. "The outer colonies canceled all Earth trade. Other planets are calling Earth's actions an act of war. You did that. You saved your world." She finally looked at him. "Then why does it feel like I failed?" Eli didn't answer right away. Instead, he sat beside her. "Because peace doesn't feel like fireworks," he said. "It feels like silence and doubt and waiting." Zalara almost smiled. Almost. Then, a royal guard rushed in, breathless. "Your Highness," he said, bowing, "we have intercepted a secure Earth transmission. It's not over." Zalara stood. "Play it." The guard inserted a chip into the wall console. A hologram flickered to life, showing General Merrick, the same cold-eyed man from the wedding recording. But this time, his voice was calm, Too calm. Plan B initiated. Princess Solara is more dangerous than expected. If we cannot take the planet with charm, we take it with fear. Deploy the override command. Activate the sleeper. The message ended. Zalara's face went still. What does it mean? She asked. What sleeper? Eli's eyes darkened. They have someone inside, still active, still loyal to Earth. Her blood ran cold. Another spy? He nodded. Worse than Joran. This one's been waiting, hidden. Solara clenched her fists. Then we have to find them. That night, the palace held an emergency council meeting. Alien ministers, royal captains, scientists, and rebel leaders all gathered. A thick tension filled the room. Trust was thin. Suspicion was thick. Everyone looked at everyone else like a possible traitor. Zalara stood before them, armor polished, voice steady. There is a sleeper among us. Someone working with Earth. They plan to strike again. We must uncover them before they destroy what's left. The room erupted in argument. It could be a guard, or a servant, or even one of us. A sharp voice cut through the noise. It was Captain Zahn, the same man who had betrayed them earlier, but who had since been captured and locked in a royal prison cell. He now stood in chains under heavy watch. I can tell you who the sleeper is, he said calmly. Everyone went quiet. Zalara's eyes narrowed. Speak, Zahn smirked. But I want something first, my freedom. You don't make demands, Zalara replied coldly. Zahn laughed. Then enjoy your peace while it lasts. Zalara gave a silent nod. The guards took him away, but the damage was done. The room now boiled with paranoia. Everyone had a secret. Eli stepped forward. We can run full DNA scans. Track any Earth-coded implants. But we'll need the full database. It's locked in the royal vault, the engineer said. Then unlock it, Zalara ordered. The next morning, while the scans were being prepared, Zalara walked the palace grounds with Eli. It was quiet, too quiet. The gardens were empty. The statues of past rulers stared blankly at the red sky. Even the fountains had been turned off. Something doesn't feel right, she said softly. I know, Eli replied. It feels like waiting before a storm. Just then, a small silver drone flew past them, fast. Too fast, Eli's eyes widened. That's not one of ours. He pulled Zalara down, just as the drone exploded mid-air. Boom! The shockwave knocked them both back. Guards rushed in. Alarms blared. More drones appeared on the horizon. Hundreds. Flying low. They weren't just attacking the palace. They were targeting the people. Emergency. Protocols activated. Zalara, bruised but unbroken, rushed into the war room. Where are they coming from? She shouted. The engineer yelled back. They're being controlled from inside the palace. She froze. The sleeper. Whoever it is. They're here. Then something else happened. The central vault system, where the planet's defense codes were stored, began unlocking on its own. Not hacked. Authorized. Someone was inside. Track the access. Zalara ordered. Eli ran to the console. His face went pale. It's your handprint, he said. What? Your identity just opened the vault. That's impossible. I've been here with you. Eli looked her in the eyes. Unless someone copied your DNA. Suddenly, the answer hit her like a punch to the chest. No, she whispered. It's not me. She turned to the guard. Standing by the door, her personal royal guard, a woman named Vera, who had been with her since she was a child. Vera didn't blink. She just smiled and said, Long live Earth. Then she vanished in a burst of white light. A teleport escape. Pod. She was the sleeper. She had everything. The planet's defense codes. The trust of the palace. And now, a clear path for Earth's final strike. Zalara dropped into her seat. Eli sat beside her. She's gone, he said. But not far, Zalara replied. This ends now. We find her. We finish this. He nodded. And then? He asked. She looked at him, eyes burning. Then, we win. War had come to Zeroth, not with fire raining from the skies or ships, crashing into buildings, not yet, but with something worse, silence. A sharp, unnatural quiet had settled across the city. Streets were empty, lights dimmed, families locked themselves inside. The people didn't speak, they waited for the first explosion, the first scream, the final betrayal, and in the heart of the royal palace, Princess Zalara prepared for the fight of her life. She stood at the top of the old tower, the place where her mother had once watched the stars. Her armor gleamed black and silver. Her long braid whipped in the wind like a battle flag. The crown she used to wear was gone. She wasn't a symbol anymore. She was a sword. Beside her, Eli finished syncing the last override codes into the palace system. They're coming, he said. How long? An hour, maybe less. Zalara didn't flinch. Where's the signal coming from? Eli looked at the map glowing in front of them. Far side of the capital. Vera's hiding in the Echo Spire, old Earth tech. She's using it to relay the planet's defense codes to orbit. She's giving Earth control of our shields, Zalara said. And once they have that, they land and they own us, Eli finished. Zalara's jaw tightened. Not if we get there first. Minutes later, a stealth ship soared over the rooftops, heading straight toward the Echo Spire. Zalara sat in the pilot seat, her hands steady on the controls. Behind her were Eli, Bork, the slicer girl Nali, and 2 loyal guards, all ready to die if needed. Below them, Zaroth's skyline blurred into shades of steel and glass. The storm that had been building for days was finally breaking. Lightning cut through the sky, turning everything silver blue. They reached the spire. It was a tall, forgotten tower left from Earth's first arrival on Zeroth, now covered in vines, broken solar panels, and ghosted memories. But inside, it still pulsed with power. In danger. The ship landed hard. They moved fast. Nali jammed the security sensors. Bork ripped open the gate with his bare hands. Zalara led the charge through the metal corridors, her blade drawn. They moved like lightning, fast and focused. But they weren't fast enough. As they reached the main chamber, Vera was already standing there, waiting, her back to them. In front of her floated a glowing console, Earth's uplink, live and active. She turned slowly. I was hoping it'd be you, she said. Zalara stepped forward. You used my DNA, you used my family. Vera didn't blink. I followed the future. You follow ghosts. You betrayed your world. I freed it, Vera said calmly. You just don't see it yet. Then she raised her hand, a pulse weapon forming around her fingers. Eli fired first. Vera dodged. Blasts tore through the room. Sparks flew. The air sizzled with heat and energy. The floor shook. Alarms rang out. Nali ran to the console, trying to shut it down. It's shielded, she yelled. We have 90 seconds before it completes the code transfer. Zalara charged. She met Vera in the center of the chamber. Blade against blade, fire against fire. The clash was brutal, elegant, deadly. Every strike was personal. Every block filled with history. You were like a sister to me. Zalara shouted. That was your mistake, Vera hissed. Eli joined the fight, taking a blast to the leg but staying upright. Bork shielded Nali while she worked. 40 seconds. She screamed. Zalara's blade locked with Vera's. You're fighting for people who see you as a threat, Vera said, breathless. They'll never accept you. You'll never belong. I don't need to belong, Zalara growled. I just need to lead. With a final spin, she struck Vera's weapon, slicing the emitter clean off. Vera fell to her knees, breathing hard, wounded. Zalara stood over her. Nali shouted, I got it. Link is dead. The console exploded in sparks and went dark. A second later, The sky above them began to clear. Earth's ships, now blind without the codes, started pulling back. No way in. No way to strike. They had won, but at a cost. Hours later, back at the palace, Zalara sat quietly beside Eli in the royal garden. His leg was wrapped. Her hand was bandaged. But they were alive. Across the city, people were lighting fires again, not for war, but for warmth. Not to destroy, but to remember. The silence had broken, replaced by music, voices, and hope. King Vorin, weakened by wounds and shame, had stepped down. The council had named Solara regent until a new system could be formed. For the first time in years, Zareth was free, not just from enemies, but from lies. Eli looked at her. Earth will return. One day, he said. I know, she replied. They'll send diplomats and generals, and maybe someone like me. She smiled softly. Then I hope they're exactly like you. He chuckled. So, still hate humans? She looked at him, really looked. You're not like the ones who killed my mother, she said. You didn't lie. You didn't run. You stayed. She stood, the moonlight casting silver across her face. I told my father I'd marry. Anyone but the human, she said. But maybe I was wrong. Eli blinked. Are you saying? She raised her hand, stopping him. I'm saying. I might not marry a human, she said with a smirk, but I might love one. He laughed. That's progress, she nodded, for both of us. Above them, the stars, once silent, now seemed to shimmer with quiet approval. Not all stories end in perfect peace. Not all wounds heal quickly, but some stories, some wars, lead to something greater than victory. They lead to understanding. And sometimes even love.